Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the interview. I got a good friend of mine, man. It's a pleasure to have him here. Y'all may know him. If y'all do not know him, well, I'm gonna introduce you to him. He goes by Andre Spicer. Some know him as Hub City Dre or Councilman Spicer. It's up to
Yeah.
you, however you want to say it. But Hub City Dre in the building, man. Thanks for coming through, bro. I
N-
appreciate you, dog.
Nah, man. Thanks for having me again back on the Good News Radio. Appreciate you, big dog. It's been a minute.
Yeah, I was about to say it's probably been some years, man. We were just trying to figure out how long we knew each other just now.
Yeah.
Trying to let that sit in. And first and foremost, man, I know I have my own introduction, but I like people to introduce themselves. So if you don't mind letting people know who you are, where you're from, and what you
Yeah.
do.
Okay. Well, name is Councilman Andre Hub City Dre Spicer, Councilman City Accountant District 2, also entrepreneur, community activist, and yeah, man, a representative of the Hub City, man. So that's I won't go into no. I mean, it's nothing extra about it, man. That's
Man,
it.
that's a whole lot you just said,
Nah,
man.
man.
I see it. Is it still taking you some time to get used to saying councilman?
It,
Yeah.
it it is, man. And it's always weird, man. Because even in certain circles, people don't know how to approach me no more. Like, they
All right, they don't know
like
the
I see some of the homies, they be like, yeah, Dre, Councilman, and it's like, man, just be regular. Like nothing's different from me.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I think for some people
Well,
just
I can imagine that. Like, imagine if let's say like we was in the streets, then I became a cop, you know what I'm saying? Then you kind of like,
yeah.
I don't really know how to, if I should, how should I come at this man now?
Right.
So I can
Can I pop can I grab a bottle and have a photo with you? Can I, can we spark up? It's like you wouldn't
right,
know how to have that relationship with them anymore. So
right. So I mean, let's talk about that, man. How has that been different since you have became, at this point, you're a professional politician?
yeah,
How,
yeah.
how, how has that been? I mean, for me, I always knew it, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But how has that transition been?
It's been a pretty cool transition, man. I think for me, it's about community relations. It's about building networks, having like just developing relationships. And so when I started governing, I started meeting with everybody, and I wasn't any different than what I was when they first met me. So if they met me at Hub City Drift, they met me on the block or in the streets or wherever they met me at, like that image or energy had never changed. I never switched up on that. And I like to have what I call it. Everybody has that open door policy, but I talk to people regular, just like we talking now. And it's
Yeah.
like the fact that I'm your boss or could do something as it relates to government governing or policy or anything like that doesn't change that the fact that I'm just a regular everyday person. Like nothing's different.
Do,
You know what I'm
do
saying?
people have a different expectation for you to do things for them now because in their eyes you have this power?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They expect, man.
Man,
Listen,
bro, $100,000, man. I need $100,000 donated.
bro. They think you can like everybody expects you to do everything that they need you to do, and
Yeah.
even if it's not even right.
Right.
Like somehow, uh, somewhere down the line or before me, Compton had this thing or has this thing where they give some nonprofit organizations a building and then give them the rent for that building is $1 for the entire year. So
A
it's like
month or
no, $1 for the entire year, and this nonprofit gets to have this building.
wow.
And we have like about I don't quote me, it might be five, six, seven. I
Mhm.
don't know how many buildings throughout the city that we have for nonprofits, and they pay $1 for the year.
Wow.
Like logically, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any business sense, especially for a city like us. Like we haven't been doing the best financially.
Mhm.
So to be giving away a building for $1 a year, and then you're paying the utilities, you're paying for
Right.
everything
It's
that
costing money.
like it's costing money to have it.
Mhm.
And so as soon as I got in, some of my people hit me up like, "Yo, bro, I'm trying to get one of them buildings. Like, what's up? Can I get
Like,
a
you ain't even
building
got a
for?"
nonprofit, bro.
Like, knock it off, man. I'll tell you, I tell everybody off top, like I let everybody know from the start, like I'm not doing that.
Right.
Like, don't ask me for the hookup. Like, just put
Mm.
yourself in position, and if you're doing what you're supposed to do, I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do,
Right.
and everything's supposed to line up if
Mm.
everybody's doing their part. But if you're not doing your part, don't look for me to roll out this red carpet for you.
That's interesting because you said earlier like you were already moving this way, and my nickname for you has always been the mayor. I've been calling you that and that's because of the way you was moving. You was already in the community. You were already moving, helping, providing. I mean, making an impact on the city as if you were, already. So this is just suitable for where
Yeah,
you are now in your position.
man, and that's why I ran. Honestly, is because I felt like I was getting more done from a activist standpoint, you know. And I figured, and they always, you hear this quote that says, "Be the change that you want to see," and that sounds corny as hell, but actuality, you have to be the change that you want to see, so you can kind of just spark that change. And so, yeah, you guys know I was like, always doing stuff for the community, whether it be backpack giveaways, clothes
You gave
giveaways.
away so much food, bro.
And we did the podcast, we did the mentorship programs, and there was all these different things that we were doing, and that's what kind of triggered people to push me to do it.
Mhm.
Like yourself, calling me the mayor,
Mhm.
before I even done anything, and politically anyway.
Yeah.
And now that I'm in a position, like I was like one of the first things I did was aside from the giveaways, um, and then I'm gonna go to the giveaways, but aside from the giveaways, for one of the first things I did was an expungement clinic. So
Really?
yeah, I had Loyola Marymount come out, the lawyers from Loyola Marymount. They came out, they did an expungement clinic for free. So they were
Wow.
literally helping people get their records expunged.
Yeah.
Also had employers there hiring people on the spot. The day before we did a resume workshop, so you can just be ready for the day.
Yeah.
And it was just getting people in. I'm sorry, to get people in position and in place to provide for themselves, basically. So
Hey, that's really amazing because that's a huge problem for a lot of people is their records,
yep.
right? And some records are even a true representation of who they are, right? Just got a bad deal or something like that.
I mean, and then you're talking about the people that's been targeted and over sentenced as well.
Right.
So
Right.
like sometimes some of y'all didn't even deserve the records that you do have.
Right. I got in a fight now when I was 18 and
Yeah.
now I got a assault felony
Right.
that I can't get rid of.
And
Right.
I'm 30 years old and
Yeah.
and I got 2 kids. So I'm trying to,
Wow.
and then when so I go back and let me go back a little bit. We go to crime, let's talk crime.
Yeah. Let's get to it.
No one's committing crimes because they're bored. Like in most cases, people are committing crimes because they're trying to make ends meet.
Mm-hmm.
Now pivoting to my giveaways where we do gas giveaways. Like I just gave away 600 gallons worth of gas.
I saw that, man.
Yeah,
How long was that line?
That line was long as roots.
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
Was long as roots, bro. And it was the second time we did it. So we did that. We've been giving away. We fed the same day we gave away, hundreds or 1,000 diapers to the people in the community. We've done tons of food giveaways, and you do that to get people's attention. You do that to feed a need. There's 3 essential things that you need before you can pay attention to anything. It's your shelter, security, and food. Like, once you got those 3 things, then you can start to focus on other things.
Right. Build on top of that.
Right. But until those needs are met, it's hard to see past anything when your stomach is growling, when you gotta struggle to make ends meet.
Right.
So the giveaways is to get your attention to help you get from point A to point B. Now we can have a conversation about how we can help you get your record expunged, how we can help you get employed, how we can get your program popping and into some of these schools or in some of these parks or whatever it is.
I mean, I want to ask you a little bit about you growing up in Compton, because I think that why you're able to make such an impact, and even why you want to make an impact, is because you're from the city, and we have seen this many times. A lot of times, where it be policemen, politicians, they don't have the same interest because they're not from there. They don't understand. So, how was your upbringing in Compton?
I think I had a pretty balanced upbringing. I came from a single parent household. Mom's held it down though. We didn't struggle for much. I didn't feel a struggle. I didn't feel a struggle. And I don't have the typical woe is me Compton story, because that's what most people would expect. But I didn't. I had a backyard, a pool, jacuzzi. On the other side where my grandmother was at, it was a farm. We had like goats, pigs, chickens, sheep, cats, dogs,
which in
all in the
Compton
backyard.
for a long time was known for its
Agriculture.
yeah, right. It's
Farm, yeah.
farming city, like the only place in the city in the LA city that had that type of culture.
And so that was so I had both of those things.
Mhm.
I mean, my pops was a Compton PD before I was born. My grandfather, he was the one he cooked. He was the water man.
Right.
He was a different water man.
Right.
I sell water, but he was
Right.
selling water.
Right.
So
right.
you know that was the balance of life. For me.
Right. You're able to see both because, I mean, most people I talk to are from Los Angeles and they have to navigate through these landmines, and a lot of times they don't navigate them all, right?
Mhm.
Whether it be they get caught up in gang life and or some type of even if they're not a part of it, they're affiliated. So now they don't even know how they ended up here, right?
Yeah.
I talked to somebody earlier and he was like, I carried a gun, or a couple days ago, he said he carried a gun with him just because it was the culture. He didn't gang bang nothing, but that's what it was. How was your navigation through those landmines?
I mean, so you have to adjust and adapt to the environment that you're in. So, yes, we probably all have some type of affiliation at some point or somewhere. I didn't let none of that define me. I didn't believe in the act of gangbanging.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can't make sense of something, then my mind and body won't even let me accept it or do it. For me, I was always connected.
Mm-hmm.
Like I am who I am.
If you go outside, ain't nothing you can do.
I've been in the same neighborhood my entire life.
Right.
They know me.
Right.
Like I was always comfortable being me.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dre did. Like I was designing evening gowns and suits and like for weddings and proms and things like that, while hooking up my homeboys with some dope jeans with putting their hood name stitched in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was all like I just was who I am. I was comfortable with being that. I don't know if that was something my mom instilled in me, just to be you, be comfortable in being who you are. But it was instilled in me in a long time, like when I was a kid. And I just, I never got caught up in it. And I was always able to just keep my head straight. And maybe I was, shout out to moms for just keeping me active all the time. Football, basketball, baseball.
That is the X factor right there. What you just said is everybody that I had talked to, they said my parents just kept me busy.
Yeah.
My dad always told me the reason why I put you in baseball because I need you to have something to do, so you wouldn't be doing what I was doing. So
I know mine is the devil's playground.
It really is to this day, still to this day. Which is interesting because Compton has its own. What I want to say. People view it differently, right? When they're from somewhere, and now Compton is probably one of the most famous cities in the world,
right?
Which is very interesting because it's a very particular place.
Well, see, Compton's always been, since its inception, it's always been famous. And the thing people don't know, currently don't know why. We know the Dr. Dre's.
It's all music.
Kendricks.
Music.
Music.
Yeah.
That's what modern.
And Serena.
But right. But we go back way before this for just like setting the bar for a lot of different things. Compton was just established incorporated in 1888. First airplane was in 1903. Compton was the first one to do like an air show, like an actual.
Because the airport is the airport in Compton.
We have
an
airport. So
is it still active or not?
Yeah.
You can fly into Compton.
Yeah, that's a private airplane. I mean, airport. We go up there.
Get the hell out of here! I've been there, but I didn't know it was still an active airport.
Man, I just took a helicopter ride like 2-3 weeks ago.
I bet you did.
Like, yeah, man. Nah, man.
You got those kind of connections. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I just make a call, man. But nah, man, and we just got a lot of history, bro.
Definitely.
I did a TED talk about 2-3 weeks ago, and my TED talk was about the past, present, and potential future of Compton.
Yeah.
And I laced people with so much Compton history.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people don't know that G.D. Compton, which is the guy that founded Compton, donated some land to another Methodist church to start a university. University is one of the most prestigious universities today. That university is the University of Southern California.
USC.
Compton donated USC. So like USC, it wouldn't be no USC without Compton.
Right.
Like it's a whole bunch of actual facts and history in Compton that comes way before the music that people don't even know nothing about.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it is a particular place, and I'm not gonna lie. Me being from Inglewood, I used to wish that Inglewood had that type of culture, right? It's much like Oakland. Oakland got that
Yeah,
kind of culture that
Oakland got
Compton
that.
got.
Yeah,
When you from there, you want people to know
yeah,
I'm from. You could have went to every Christian school in Compton, or what? You could, matter of fact, you couldn't even. You could have went to a different school, but if you had a Compton address, you wanted people to know.
hmm
And that's special. That's very very special. I want to jump into a little bit about your career, man, because before you became a politician, which I want to talk, we're gonna talk a little bit about the story about how you got there, because that's crazy, right? So we're gonna talk about that.
yeah.
But you emerged. Uh, Let me ask this: where'd you go to high school?
I went to Bourbon Day.
Okay, Vermont Day.
Yeah.
Graduated high school, and after that, most people when they graduate high school is like, "What do I do next?" What did you end up doing after you graduated?
After I graduated, I took a year out of school. Because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't want to waste my money
Exactly.
going to college. I didn't just want to waste my money. And then I chose up on fashion.
Mm-hmm.
I pushed the fashion design line, and I went to AIU for a couple years. I tried to get into FITM, and they accepted me, but they didn't want to. They didn't want to cover my tuition,
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't have the money to go there. But so I went to school for fashion design ultimately,
Okay.
to answer that question.
Okay.
And then that's when I got into my fashion career.
You be
Shortly
fly. I
after.
ain't gonna lie. Yeah, always. You know what I'm
Yeah, I mean, I
saying?
appreciate
Yeah,
that, bro.
when you
Yeah.
step out, you step out.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I try to look like somebody.
So okay, so you end up getting into fashion, which is
Yeah,
this is interesting because the way I met you in a form of broadcasting, radio,
yeah,
and multimedia. That's how we connected.
right.
So how'd you go from fashion to I'm going to open up my own radio station?
Um, I had done fashion for a couple years, and I was getting some pretty good traction, and but it was expensive. It was expensive to
Mm-hmm.
do fashion the way I was doing it, and I really just couldn't afford to do it anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
so my goal was to intern in radio so that I could start networking with people that was in the industry that might that I probably can get some networking
But it
and
was still
for the
for
fashion.
fashion.
Yeah.
Interesting, huh?
So and then I end up stumbling across a situation where I think it was American Radio Network in Hollywood, and they had like a some type of class that taught us, basically how to be a radio personality.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did the class. Then they put me on AM radio, and all this. I'm still thinking like I just want to get around the right people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I enjoyed talking and doing radio, and being creative in that aspect, but it was all for fashion. And then I learned more about internet radio. That's when it really started hitting the scene.
Right, right, right.
And then I saw the opportunities there. And so one day, I was like Googling Compton and, just looking up different things in Compton. And everything that I saw in Compton was just negative images. When you
Mm.
Google Compton, it was old English letters, it was drug deals,
Right,
fighting,
right.
gangbanging, all that stuff. So you get all the negative stereotypes. And I was like, man, we got way more to offer than just this.
Mm.
And then when I looked to see, I was like, yo, where are these sources from? And none of those sources was actually from the community. So you got other people telling your story.
Yeah,
And what happens with that, what's so dangerous about that is when those stories are told, it dictates how the world looks at you. And when those stories are heard and felt, it dictates how you look at you.
yeah,
And that has an effect on your community. So I'm like, well, we need our own platform.
yeah.
And so that's when I had the idea to create my own platform on internet radio, which was the Hub Radio.
I mean, so and how'd you go about that? Because you say, okay, I'm going to do this, but what do I do now? Like, where do
Yeah.
you start? So, what was your first move towards that?
I mean, you run. So how do you run 3 miles? Like you just start jogging.
Mm.
You gotta start. So you gotta start the process.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta start looking things up and do your research and don't be afraid to fail. So you can't have these dreams to fly high and then you're gonna be scared of the heights. It's just a contradiction. So you really
Mm-hmm.
you literally have to put in the work to get where you want to go to. And that's what I did. I just found out everything that I had to do. Starting a business is no different. You want to start a business, starting a business is always gonna be the same. You got to go
Yeah.
through the same steps.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what type of business is that? You got to get equipment. You got to where's it going to be?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's the licensing? How's all like? You got to go through the process. You got
So
to figure it out.
so like what was the first step you took when you decided you was gonna do it?
First step I took was I bought the name, the Hub Radio. I bought the hubradiostation.com, and I started to buy equipment, headphones,
Mm-hmm.
microphones, soundboards.
And you didn't have a
And
place at this time,
at
right?
this time,
You
I
didn't have a
was
location.
no, I was living in my grandmother's back house, and um, I have to tell you the real the other story when we off. But
Okay.
I was back there, and I divided the little studio up, so it was like a 1 bedroom
Mm-hmm.
apartment. So I just divided it up and had all my equipment in one room, and then I slept in the other.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of just built around that whole concept.
Mm-hmm.
And
You have people coming to your house.
yeah, I had people come to my house. I mean, yeah, I had people coming to my house, bro. Like my actual home where I laid my
Yeah.
head. Yeah.
They have to walk past your bed
No,
to go into the studio.
how about this? They had to walk past 8 pit bulls to even get to my house to come inside because I was raising pit bulls at the
Right,
time.
right.
I had pits all around. And so like pulling up, you're intimidated.
Oh, bro, I'm not coming.
Yeah, yeah. It's everything of what you think a Compton radio station would be at that time,
Right,
right? You're
right.
pulling up to somebody's house, you know what I'm saying? It's in the country part of Compton because it's in Richland Farms.
Right.
You gotta walk through a huge gate with a backyard. You got dogs all over the place there, and you know I ain't had no frail dogs. These
Right.
dogs it was pits.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
right.
you know, and then you get a chance to go inside and enjoy the experience. But the experience was like no other. Like we always were big on having always big on experience.
Yeah.
Like once
Yeah.
you get there, you're going to enjoy every bit of it. And everybody there is going to make you feel welcomed in that home. So
You know me, I love a good starting from the house story. You know what I mean? Because you know, similar
can relate.
story. Yeah, similar story. So it means that you wanted to do it.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of circumstance, you wanted to do it. So how long were you doing that out your house?
Out the house, it probably was like 3 years.
So
It
some
was
time,
like,
right?
It was like 3 years.
And
man.
you inviting strangers to your house, right?
Not necessarily, I mean,
People
you know,
who want to be on the show, or
yeah,
you just met recently, or what?
it had, yes, we've had those situations where it was some strangers, but nothing that we couldn't handle. You know, I was comfortable.
Right.
I knew what
And I
where
got
was
8
at.
pit bulls outside, so
We
everybody
good.
relax.
Yeah, we good. Everybody's solid. You still got to get out of here.
Yeah.
You still got to get out of here, bro. So, but nah, that was solid. And then we finally got our like first storefront.
And that's the one I have been to. Was that the first one, or was that not the first?
Was that the one in North Long Beach? Because that's the first place I got was in North Long Beach.
And then no,
yeah,
oh,
yeah. Our first studio was in North Long Beach. Half my studio, it was a decent sized space, and I knew the Hub Radio wasn't making money, so I had to have something else. And the front part of the studio was a coffee shop. It's called Mocha Brown's Cafe, and we had like, you know, coffee, teas, hot chocolate, all these different snacks and different things like that. But kept the bills paid.
Right. Yeah. You're a real entrepreneur, man. I mean,
yeah, man.
I can really say that because as long as I've known you, you've had things going on, and even now, you know, you own your own water company. That's been what, maybe going on 3 years now?
Yeah, we're going on 3.
Going on 3 years?
Yeah.
And let me tell you how much I honor that, because you brought something that wasn't in the city of Compton, really no inner city, which was good water.
Yeah.
You know, we get the sparklets or whatever the case may be. We buying brand name.
Yeah.
We're not knowing what's in it. We don't care. We see added ingredients it's added ingredients for taste. We don't care. We don't know what it is, right?
Yeah.
What made you say, hey, I'm going into the water business? Was it the money? Was it just because you wanted to provide something for the city? Like, what made you say, I'm going to open up my own water company?
Everything that I do is I have to have a passion for it. And so that's the Hub Radio was because I wanted to give us a platform to showcase, you know, what we're doing. Health is based off of my personal experiences. Like I lost my best friend at 28, colon cancer. And so for me, at for that, it was like, to me, it was in food, it was in the water, it was in, because he was like my size, like we were. It was like colon cancer sounds crazy at that age, but anyway, so I've been a little more health conscious since then. And then when I found out about, oh, you look at situations like Flint, Michigan, and you're like, damn, how do we avoid something like that happening here? And then I get the opportunity to actually get a water store. So I'm like, damn, like this could be major for the community, because water is life.
Yeah.
Like everybody's going to need water.
Everybody needs water.
Everybody needs
every
water.
Animal, every plant.
Yep. Everything needs water. So then I'm like, okay, that's a great opportunity. Then I found out about alkaline water. And alkaline water is good for flushing out toxins that's related to like cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, gout.
Everything that Black people go
Everything
through.
that we deal with, right? So I'm like, okay, bet. Like, we need to know more about this. And they say, well, did you know alkaline is only good for 5 days? I'm like, what do you mean? So when it's bottled, you got 5 days to consume it to get the full effect.
I never knew that.
Most of us don't.
Wow.
So we were spending more money on alkaline water at the store,
Hold on. Let's start over real quick. I want to start over. So alkaline, to get the full benefits, you got to drink it within 5 days of when, though? Like
the day it's bottled.
The day it's bottled.
The day it comes out of the tap into a bottle, you got 5 days to knock this down to get the effects. Now, the problem with that is it's bottled, packaged, shipped.
It's way more. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be way more than 5 days.
Stocked. Then you buy it.
Bro,
and it probably sits in your house for a couple days before you even drink it. So you're not getting the benefit of what you think you're getting. Like, you're paying for the marketing of alkaline, but you're not actually getting alkaline. So
we go viral on this clip right here.
Yeah.
Because you're teaching people about,
bro,
something that they have no idea about.
And for our community, we always catch on to things late, and we'll be trying to just keep up with the trend. And alkaline water is trendy right now. And sea moss is trendy right now.
Yeah.
All these things are, so but you want to make sure you're getting the benefit of it. And we need the benefit. So
that's the point.
That's the point of it. So yes, I'm like, we got to bring it to the hood then and have it out the tap so people can have it, what I'm saying, like fresh. And then they can even learn about it. Like, I want you to learn and notice yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you just taught me. I was like, I'll never buy alkaline at the water as a story because I said you think you're drinking something better, but it's been here for at least
5 months. No, it could be 5 months by the time you get it, bro. Because it's like, you have to consider the fact it's being shipped to wherever it's supposed to go to, and it may sit in, because
it's water. Water supposed to last forever almost.
Now the water lasts forever, but the alkalinity doesn't. And so the water is still good, but it's just not what you pay for.
That's wild, bro.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, man.
Never knew that. 5 days.
5 days.
Okay. We about to help some people with that one. Yeah, right there. Help a lot of people. So you said it that you bring it, to the hood, and we're both Black people, African Americans, but what's the demographics in Compton? As far as like Hispanic, white, what's that look like?
We're like, as far as the community as a whole, we're probably somewhere around like 70, a little over 70% Latino.
Yeah.
Probably about 20% African American, and then we have some others in there. And when I say others, I mean we have like Pacific Islanders, we have Native Americans, couple white people there.
And people are starting to move into Compton now, right? Because
people have always wanted to move into Compton. You just have to be comfortable to move there. You gotta know the community. You want to know the community. We don't have many outsiders trying to come in just yet.
The show is in Inglewood.
No, I mean, but you can expect that because things are changing in Inglewood. So gentrification is an inevitable. And this is what people don't want to talk about, is gentrification. Gentrification is inevitable. Question is, who's going to gentrify?
There you go.
If you decide, I don't want to be a part of that, I want to go to Lancaster, I want to go to Victorville, or I want to go all these different places outside, then that's your decision. But we can't claim, and we can't be mad at gentrification and demonize it if we decide that we want to leave.
I say all the time, man. People talk about how Inglewood's changed. I'm like, listen, I
Yeah.
don't know what y'all knew about Inglewood, but from my experience,
Yeah.
it needed a little help. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad there's a Sprouts there now. You know, tired of food for less.
Dude, seriously, on
Just
everything,
on that alone.
like just that alone right there. And some people don't even see the problem with just having the food for less. Now, respect the food for less. Thank y'all for being in the hood and providing food for the hood when we needed it. But understand that we're the only ones that get a food for less.
There's not a. I've listen. I live on the west side now, about by Santa Monica. I've never seen a food for less over there.
Right.
Nowhere.
Right. And in a lot of communities, liquor stores don't stay open past 8, 9 o'clock at night.
There you go.
Ours is damn near 24 hours.
Bro, during the pandemic, the only two things that was open was the liquor store and the grocery store.
Yep.
I don't know how the liquor store got in there and weed shops. That was it. You couldn't go to church. You couldn't go to church.
Couldn't go to church, but you can go to liquor store.
But you can go to liquor store.
Bro, this is amazing. This is amazing.
So yeah, so has the demographics for you been a challenge because it's not predominantly Black?
No, because I'm from the community.
Okay,
like Compton is Compton. Like that's one thing about Compton. We not respect to everybody else, but like Compton is like if you Compton, it's respected as like this is still family. It's Compton. Yeah. So we don't have a race problem within our city. The race problem is outside and around the city, and people is trying to come outside. We grow up together. We go to the same schools. We go to the same parks. We go to the same restaurants.
Right. We eat the same food.
We eat the same foods. We've always been in together. So for us, that's what it is. And if you can meet their needs, and anybody, like just because you Black don't mean you right.
Right.
Just because you Latino don't mean you right. Like judge by the content of my character. And that is what happens in Compton. So my demographic is actually, the city is 70%, roughly about 70%. My district is like 80% Latino.
Now, which district? I mean, can you give me some like streets so we can kind of get a lay of land?
I'm in District 2. I'm the northeast side of Compton. So I'm everything between Compton Boulevard and everything north, which would be Linwood, that area. Then you and then I'm everything from Willowbrook all the way going east, which would be like Paramount.
Okay.
So I'm like that area of Compton. And it's about 25,000 residents. Again, it's 80% Latino. These Latino people, they voted out the first Latino elected official ever in Compton to put me in.
Wow.
So it has nothing to do with race. It's all about representation.
So, since you brought it up, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But first I do want to say, even myself, I got ties at Compton. I went to Caldwell Elementary.
Yeah, okay.
I went to Caldwell. I also went to St. Albert.
Shout out. Oh, I went to St. Albert too.
I went to St. Albert, the great, you know what I'm saying? Don't forget the great.
I did kindergarten to second grade there, but yeah.
I went, I think, first and fourth grade there. And then I think I did Caldwell, maybe Caldwell first. I'm sorry, second, something like that. Yeah. But I went to Caldwell and then I went to St. Albert. So I got ties there. So you are elected official, but it was no normal process for you. Because so I remember the day you got the results, we were together that night. We were at an event and I remember we were walking out. You was like, I lost by 1 vote. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was like, damn. And we none of us really kind of believed that for some reason. I was like, no way you lost by 1 vote. Like if you lost, you lost. Right. 1 vote? I don't know. So that curiosity inspired you to do an investigation. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, man. The team wasn't allowing that. We wasn't taking any losses. And they really, and honestly, my whole team I credit the whole team for this. Like I could have done all of this by myself.
Yeah.
They went to bat for me for months, for over a year, like a year and a half. And we knew that voter fraud was coming. Voter fraud is something that is talked about in Compton all the time. Man, my grandfather been dead since '86, and he gets a ballot at his house today. So we talk about the dead vote all the time. Talk about, I've heard people walking through cemeteries just taking names and just pulling, ballots
Wow.
based off the names that's at the cemetery because they know ain't nobody going,
Right.
So it was a lot of little different things that we were kind of already knowing is going to happen and to expect. So when the count came out, first I won the primary. Like I was the leader of all 5.
Right.
So now we got to do a runoff for the top 2, which is
Right.
me and
I
the
remember
incumbent.
that.
And when the results came out the first day, and it was close because I think I was over in like 5 votes. And then it kept going, like every day it kept changing up.
Mm-hmm.
And one day the final vote came out, and it said he had won by 1 vote. And bro, I was low key crushed.
No, bro. Let me tell you how devastated you was, right? Because I don't know if you remember this, but we was walking outside. I knew you with your wife at the time. We was outside, and I asked you. I was like, "Hey, man, so you gonna run again?" You was like, "Man, I don't know, man. I might just." You was devastated, bro.
Yeah. Hey, bro.
Yeah.
And I wasn't low key.
Yeah.
I'm not even low key. I was not going to run and go again. Like if
You're discouraged.
I felt like if the system was broke like that, and I couldn't fight and get there this time, then I wasn't gonna do this.
I don't want to be a part of this.
I don't want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. And then we raised money for a recount, and that was $6,600. So
wow.
And just let me recap real quick because I raised roughly like right under 60 grand, I think, to run for office. And this was off the backs of like my family, my friends, the homies.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get no major endorsements.
Right,
Every dollar I
right.
raised was like off of people like you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it took a lot to raise that. Now after I spent all that money trying to get there, then they tell you lose by 1 vote. Now you got to raise more money to even
again. I gotta get lawyers, everything.
Yeah. So now I do 6,600 to do the recount. We find voter fraud all over the place. Like it's tons of voter fraud, and it ain't just him. Like it's other people involved in this voter fraud too. We just didn't expose them just yet.
Right.
So, so when we find out the voter fraud, it's one thing that when you say, "Hey, yeah, I found something," and I think it's something. It's a different when you turn over to the DA's office and they like, "Oh, you actually got something," and we finna indict 6 people because of what you just brought me.
Wow.
So they indicted 6 people like 3 weeks later. And then from there, like the criminal trial started. And, the criminal trials, they get pushed back. It was COVID. Everything keeps getting pushed back.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, bro. And then I asked my lawyer, I said, so if they lose, I'm sorry, I didn't ask my lawyer. I forgot who I talked to and consulted about this. But the point is, if they lose this criminal case, does that mean that I just get into the office? Do I get in the office? And they say no. The seat's vacant, and they get to appoint whoever they want to, or have a special election. So I was like, oh, there's no way. There's no way they're going to appoint me, 1. And then there's 2, you think I'm going to do a whole nother election after all of that?
Right.
No. So
you're like, what's even the point of this right now, right?
Like, what's the if he's found guilty, how do I not?
I don't win. I still lose.
So they said, well, you got to do a civil case. So then I hired a lawyer that was familiar with with these types of situations. And dude figured he took the case. He figured he can beat it. Somehow that our case got fast tracked. I mean, it really moved fast through to get in front of a judge.
At this time, the dude is holding the seat. He's in there, right?
He's in the seat for a whole year.
Wow.
While this is all happening, he like, he ain't tripping. He like,
I'm here.
He ain't going nowhere. Like, wow. So, then we finally get to the trial. It's like in March. It was March 20th, 21st, March 21st. It was 3, 2, 1. And I remember that. It was 3, 2, 1. I was like, oh, it's happening right now. It was like a countdown. And it was 2 days of trial. And my lawyer kicked his lawyer's ass. Like we were slaughtering, slaying out up in there. And it took 3 months of deliberation from the judge. And I'm on pins and needles for like months.
Oh, you can't even sleep.
Man. And it wasn't until a murder happened Yeah, you didn't hear about this part.
No.
Okay, so and this is
It gets better.
shout out to the family, man. I mean, it's public record, so I'm gonna talk about it. But these are still my people too.
Yeah.
So DJ Quick, we all know who DJ
Mhm.
Quick is. His son worked for the incumbent, the guy that I
Yeah.
was going against. He was his liaison.
Mm.
I don't know all the details of the story
Mhm.
because it's still going in front of a judge. But apparently, it was a birthday party for the incumbent's son,
Mhm.
kindergarten, not a graduation party.
Mhm.
And the family got into a fight with the incumbent. They beat him up really bad. Somehow, shots got fired. The incumbent's brother-in-law gets killed in the backyard at the party.
Wow.
And then the next day, the judge turned over my case. I don't know if they were related. I don't know if it was like perfect time. I mean,
Mhm.
lack of better words, perfect timing. But I don't know if it had anything to do with that or not. But all of that is like involved in me getting into office today.
That's wild because after all that, because they told you like you may still not get the seat. So did they end up appointing you at that point?
Oh, well, now when I did my civil case, it changes everything because now I'm going after him specifically
it wasn't
for the
criminal.
voter fraud.
Okay.
And
Right.
now I'm suing for the seat. And,
Okay. I
and so
see.
that changed everything.
I see.
So now I won literally a year to the date. I won my case, the civil case to get in office. The judge appointed me on Thursday. On Monday, they were swearing me in, and the rest was
And
history.
you were sitting at his desk.
Sitting at his desk. Had that thing taken out and burned. Just take this out.
He still had his family pictures up there and everything.
Everything was like a lot of stuff was still there. He didn't have a lot of
Yeah.
time to get everything out.
Yeah.
It was yeah.
So I mean, what ended up happening to him? I mean,
He's still dealing with the criminal case right now.
okay.
They're still going through that.
Wow.
I have not kept up with it honestly, and I'm not one of those people that wish jail on it.
Yeah, you don't want him. You just want the seat.
Yeah, I just wanted what I
Deserve.
earned. Now whatever you got and whatever all that is on y'all. I just don't have nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
I came for my seat, and y'all can figure the rest out.
I mean, and that's man. Like I said, that's incredible, right? It couldn't be easy for you. It wouldn't make sense, right?
No.
What did you learn from that whole experience?
I learned to have patience. Patience is the main thing, bro. That I learned a lot of patience. I learned that, and I really believe I'm not a big religious person, but I do believe I was chosen for this. I do think this is like the way things lined up. This is definitely God. It has nothing like my team. I think I'm pretty cool. I think my team is dope. But the way this thing lined up, man, and everything fell into place, it was nothing but short of God.
Yeah, because you couldn't write that out. You couldn't even guess that if you wanted to.
No.
You said I'm gonna make this a crazy story. You couldn't even wrote that.
And the win, the way I got it was so much sweeter than just winning the day of the election. You know what I'm saying? Like it made the win so much bigger. It made my story bigger. It made
of course.
It made everything bigger. And so like I'm appreciative of that.
So let me ask you this: now that you have this seat and now you have the public eye, I mean, you've always had that. I mean, just by being who you are and then owning the media platform, serving the community. I mean, on every level, people. I mean, even from Dr. Dre to anybody who's considered from Compton, they know you are. Every time somebody tell me they from Compton, you are the first thing I bring up because it's almost it's a free throw. When people be like, yeah, I know him or I know of him. So what do you think is a common misconception that people got about Compton?
Common misconception is that we're all gangsters. That everything is hood and everything is just that. And it's the furthest thing from the case. That's why I like to talk about me being a fashion designer. That's why I like to talk about me being a counselor. That's why I like to talk about the airport teaching kids how to fly airplanes. That's why I like to. I don't talk about no negative Compton stuff. Like I don't be having the negative Compton stories for people. Yeah, we got them. It's over. Like it's overdone. Right. And we done talked about it 100 times.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about the good stuff that we got popping. Yeah. And we got some good things going. We got some great people.
Yeah.
We got some great leaders from the community. Like that's like for real about this change.
Yeah.
And So I mean, the greatest misconception, man, is just we're all one dimensional and we're all one way. And Compton is the most diverse community I know of.
It's the only place in LA you can still go and see people walking down riding horses.
Riding horses.
You don't see that nowhere, bro.
Yeah, riding horses down the street, down the canal.
Right, on Rosecrans. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on?
You got farms over there. You got an airport over there. You got water wells.
Has any of that been affected by the change? Like the farms and the what is traditional seen as like it's kind of country setting. Has that been taken away or has it been added to?
Well, that's what Compton originally was.
Right.
So when GD Compton first got here and this whole collective of people, when they first got here, it was a swamp. Compton was a swamp. It was like trees, bush, slug everywhere.
Yeah.
The LA River overflowed every winter, and that came into Compton, and so that made Compton like a swamp over the years.
Nobody wanted to be there.
Nobody wanted to be there, and when the spring came and the soil dried out, Compton and his people, they were agriculturalists,
right?
So they realized that the soil was rich, and so they started putting down seeds. They got busy. They started doing their thing, and for them, they had struck gold at that point because it's like, yo, we're farmers. This is the best soil we've ever seen.
Right.
And at that time, the world's industry was agriculture. It was all about agriculture. So
and it's still Southern California with that.
And we got
that great sun.
And we got the best weather. We got the best everything. So they literally had struck gold in Compton.
Where did he come from?
Well, they originally, I'm not sure where they originally came from, but he had went up north to the gold rush.
Okay.
And he got there late and didn't make no money, wasted his time and money. And so they came from Stockton to Compton. He had a whole collective. They had some money. They bought the land without even seeing it, and they came down here. And so then they had a whole farm area. So the thing, going into this a little bit more into it, like we started doing so good with the agriculture, we started naming the streets after the produce. So you have, and people from Compton know this, we had like Peach Tree.
Fruit.
We got plum. We got cherry. We got all these different streets, and they call that area Fruit Town.
Right. So,
and we today we got it's a hood now. It's Fruit Town Piru.
Right.
But they called it Fruit Town because of you feel me, So but they called it Fruit Town because of all the agriculture that they grew there.
Interesting.
And it's similar with Treetop.
Grape Street, it keeps going.
All that area is like all in Fruit Town. And across was like all the tall trees. The trees you can see no matter where you was at in the hood or where you was at in the city. And they call that area Treetop. Today we call it Treetop Piru, but
that's some real history right now because people don't know. I didn't know that.
I know. That's what I'll be talking about. People, I'll be telling people like, oh, we got some history to this, some of this stuff, bro. It's not just by coincidence. None of this is by coincidence.
Right. It's all about design.
All by design, bro. All by design.
Yeah, that's interesting that you talk about the streets, and I never thought about Treetop, why it's even called that, or why Fruit Town was even there. I only know it from
Did we really
I know what I know it for, right?
Did we really just think some Bloods was like, yo, man, we gonna we like fruit, like we gonna do like
right?
No. I mean, respect to that. I ain't no
that's
disrespect.
That's the least gangster thing off the top of your mind you would think about, right?
Yeah, but it was already that before they got there, so it was just easy transition.
Interesting, man. Man, wow. I've learned a whole lot, man, within in 50 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Learn about water, learn about the city of Compton, and really, like I said, man, your story and what you do, it's 1 hour is really not enough time for us to really get into all the elements of what you've been through and how you became who you are today. But I do want to talk a little bit about this because you are a father.
Yeah.
You got your daughter here with you as well. They're not going to see her on camera, but I want to make that very clear, and I love talking about parenting to parents because that's a whole challenge in itself, right? And now we just talked about like this your oldest right here. This is your oldest, 17.
So I got 17, a 10, and an 8.
Tell me what's going on, man. How is that?
Man, parenting has its challenges. It has its ups and its downs, man. I mean, being a parent is probably the best thing that I've ever experienced.
Well, let me ask you a real question. Who's your favorite kid? I got her right here. I wanted to hear it.
No,
so just kidding.
No. See, this one's right here. She's a jerk too. Like my oldest and my youngest are jerks. I love them to death. Those are jerks. The one in the middle is a sweet one. But the other two, I'll be like, yo, these right here, they jokesters, they're
They can't
jerks.
see her face,
You
but
know.
man, she got something to say.
But I love them all. I love them all,
Yeah.
man. I honestly I couldn't wait to be a parent.
Yeah.
My story was like me and my dad wasn't close. Like we didn't have a relationship until maybe I was like 18, 19.
Mhm.
And he passed when I was 20.
Mm.
So we had maybe like a good solid 2 years of building a relationship. And it was because I sought out the relationship. Not that
Yeah.
he was a bad person. He was actually a great guy.
Right.
I get a lot of because he's from Compton too.
Uh-huh.
So people from Compton today, they still come to me and be like, "Man, your dad was like." They
Right.
tell me about my dad all the time. I'm
Right.
like, "Yo,
You said he was a police officer,
yeah,
right?
he was a police, but he retired in '80.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I wasn't even born yet.
Right. Right.
So, but he had an impact so much so that people still like
Mhm.
today they still talk about him.
Yeah.
But me and him didn't have like he wasn't around during my childhood like
Mhm.
that. So, I just always wanted to have an opportunity to be what I didn't have.
Yeah.
And with that, the flawed part about that is that I never considered being in a family. I just always
Mhm.
considered being a father.
Mm.
I never even thought about what
Yeah.
a family would
Yeah.
look like
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I never even that wasn't even
It
a
was step
concept for
one.
me.
It was step one was
Like,
I need to do this right.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then for our community, that's like that's
Mm.
what was happening.
Mm.
We weren't getting married and having like families. Like
As long as I'm there for my kids, all that matter,
we
right?
we
But
all
it's
have
more
most
than
of us
that.
had one parent households.
Yeah.
Some of us grew up with granny, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like that's what I saw. It wasn't a lot of two parent households. I never
Right.
even thought about family. So that was my flawed part
Mhm.
of that. But yeah, man, I couldn't wait to actually be a parent.
Right.
Now,
Right.
I think that your relationship with your kids change at different stages. I
Yeah.
think that you constantly have to always build a relationship. I think you always have to work at having a relationship.
Cause you got all girls or you got
I got one boy. My
one boy?
youngest is the boy.
Okay. Okay. Because I think we talk about raising boys and girls. Is it different? Is it the same for you or?
No, nothing's the same. I think it is different raising boys and girls, and I also think the times are different. So that all that changes. I think how you raise a child. But I mean,
I
I'm
agree.
pretty sure you have a little more.
Well, man, the reason why I asked that because I have two girls, right, 10 and 3. I don't even know what's happening at 17. So I'm asking you this question now, and because she's here. But give me some advice of what to expect, in these teenage years, because that's actually the time I'm actually not looking forward to.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I got a couple more years before I'm gonna get, because she already starting to turn a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, huh.
Yeah,
So
the personalities are developed.
uh-huh.
And then you also have to understand they have their own experiences.
Yeah.
I think a lot as parents we get lost in our experiences, and we forget that they have their own experiences.
Mhm.
So those experiences changes how they think. Then they have their own people, their own groups, the people that they're around. So the changes come in attitude changes, personality changes, just having a different understanding of the world than it was yesterday is
Yeah.
different today.
Yeah. Phones, everything. Yeah, we didn't have that. Yeah.
Social media, boys or girls, depending on what side of the fence you on.
So let me just ask that question, man. Let's just get to it, man. How was that, man? I haven't dealt with boys yet.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's going to be like. People are asking me how I'm going to be.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, what you got for me,
man? Preparation is the best. That.
Have you had to ruffle any collars?
I can't do that anymore.
Okay.
I can't just, you can't just do that. And I tell her, I hope that she listens to me when I do talk to her about it. I don't believe in having relationships right now. I think for me, I feel like I got in a relationship too early. Like relationships are difficult.
Yeah.
And when you're young and it's new, it's like, oh my God, I just want something different. Like it's
Right.
like, oh, I can't wait to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And relationships are like you're taking your life and your experiences and everything that your upbringing, everything that comes with you. Your two-parent household or your one-parent household, your damaged family, or your abusive family, your verbal abusive family, whatever it is, your background, you're taking all that and you merging it with somebody else's. And when you're 16, 17, 18, you're still learning yourself. And so you don't know who you are.
Right.
And then you got to try to merge with somebody else or
who don't know who
dictate how
they
they
are.
should be.
Yeah.
And they don't know who they are. So
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a good time. This is where you learn you. And I was watching the National Geographic channel, and I told Jordan this story. And it was about these turtles on this beach, and all these turtles they come in, they lay their eggs on this beach, and it's hundreds, thousands of eggs out here, and now they start to hatch early morning. Now their goal is to get into that water. Now in the morning, there's birds going all the way around. As they're walking, as they're hatching and going to the water, birds is picking them off because they eating. My bad.
Right,
they're eating these birds, just going straight and hitting these birds up. I mean, hitting these turtles. The ones that hatch last have a better chance of getting in the water and getting away because the birds already ate.
Wow.
And they have they have an advantage.
Wow.
You know, so those typically get to the water a little bit, easier because they came out a little later. What that does is gives you the experience. You know what I'm saying? You get to see your homegirl get, for the lack of better words, ratted out.
She get played.
She get played out. Certain these things happen, and you start to realize like, yo, this is real life. And you could have been the first turtle. Now you get a chance to be one of the last ones, which then, for some people it's like, I hate to be the last one to the party, but
no,
it's a benefit to being the last
I've been saying this, man. I was for lack of better terms, early bloomer. I kind of got into myself probably around like 16. I was like, I was feeling myself. Some people didn't get there till that they graduated, went to college or whatever. 20s. That's when I'm like, oh, okay, I got the swag. You know what I mean?
Right.
But as many times I'm like, man, I kind of wish I would have bloomed a little later because I could have avoided a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? So,
with much, what they say, with when you have freedom and stuff like that, it comes with responsibility. All that comes with responsibility. It's always a double edge to everything.
Yes, it is.
It's two sides to everything. So yes, you get a chance to get out there, and you, at the time, you couldn't tell you that.
Right.
Like 16-year-old.
Oh man, what?
Keith? No, we was lit.
Listen, bro, I'm in a party with my shirt off.
Yeah.
I'm listening to Pretty Ricky. I thought I was a stripper. Man, you know what's going on, right? You know what's going on. Yeah, you know what's going on. Yeah. Chris Brown was at the height. He was cracking. It was up.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a time. Inglewood High School, man. We have fun. But yeah, man, I'm gonna ask you this question, man. We're gonna get out of here. But there's people who look up to you, man. I look up to you. You know what I'm saying? And on many different ways. And one of the ways I do look up to you is that you always are planning and always moving forward. I don't think you always got something going on. You always are making an impact, man. And I'm like, I've been to a couple of your food giveaways, and I don't know what it is about me. I sound like, I don't know why I can't. I can, but I don't have the capacity to really be that community leader, man. It's like, it's crazy how you've done it. And you've done it. I don't want to say keeping it real because it's overused, but you've been yourself. Even now that you are a politician, bro, like you are still you, like you said, you don't change too much of who you are. You know what I mean? Like you still dress how you dress. You still talk the way you talk. You still be who you're around. And man, I got to take my house to that because I think a lot of people get in the position that you are in outside of the politics, just who you've become by influence, the influence you have on people, right? You can move masses of people before you even got this position, which is why I called you the mayor, because I saw this guy has major influence and he's using it to help, man. And in a city where people are not usually doing that, right? It's considered dangerous. It's considered scary. Yeah. You outside, handing out boxes of, you storing. I mean, man, I can go on and on, man.
Bro, people need compassion. Like, yes, the hood is the hood, but it's like that for a reason. I go to the hoodest niggas. Excuse me. I go to the hoodest cats, bro.
It's all good.
And man, I show as much love as I can because they might not get that like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that changes how that might change how their day go.
Yeah.
As corny as that sound, but it really has an effect on people, man. Like I hit cats up all the time, like, bro, like, what you need? Like, are
Yeah.
we trying to get your record expunged? We trying to get
Yeah.
like employment? What we doing? Like, what we need? Some food? We need gas? What we
Yeah.
need? Like, talk to me. Like, and it'd be people that will be typically wouldn't want to be too proud to ask for
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But and then it's coming from me. Like,
Yeah.
it ain't coming from some dude in some suit, some place that you can't relate to. I'm like, I know you. Like, I don't know you personally, but I
Yeah.
know you.
Right. Right.
Like, when we was doing the expungement clinic, bro, I was so discouraged at how many black men showed up for that. I went outside to the back to the train station, and I started pulling cats off the train that I know need this.
Right.
Like, bro, you. Yeah, I know you need it. Come here.
Yeah.
What you got going? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And like,
Yeah.
a couple cats, took advantage. A couple cats was like, "Hey, man, I about to go have lunch with my baby mama.
Right.
I gotta go do this. Gotta go do that." And you get the excuses and all that. But I think, again, being the change that you want to see,
Yeah.
like, we talked about this off air. Like, it's new careers out there,
Mhm.
right? It's podcasting out there.
Yeah.
That's a whole new career within the last 10 years. Like, that's
Yeah.
a whole, influencers. Those are new careers. Being a politician, that's not a new career, but it's new to our generation.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
And if I can influence somebody else that cares enough about their community to be effective, then I want to be that. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to do this for a long time. I'm telling you, like, I'm not no politician. Y'all talk crazy to each other.
But see, once again, I think that's why you demand for it, because people need to see themselves in those seats to even pay attention. And because you are there, it makes people feel like, one, they can do it. They belong in that space. They should pay attention, because look at Dre. He's us and he's there. So I don't know if you look at it that way, but that's the way I see it. You know what I mean? You are giving people an opportunity to see themselves in a space that they normally don't.
Yeah.
So,
And
man,
and that is the goal, bro. Like, that's why I work is hard to be in this space, and then that's why I work is like even harder to make sure that I'm effective in this space. It would mean nothing to work this hard to get here and then don't do nothing.
You ever look at your kids and be like, man, do you know your daddy is? Like, you're like, because I know, because they just see you as dad, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying all this cool stuff. She ain't even she ain't budging, right?
She don't care.
But last question, man. For people who are out there, young people, old people, it doesn't matter. Who's people are that's inspired by stories like yours. You've had a full life, many different lives, right? In one.
Mhm.
What's some life advice you would give to people?
And I think we all have our space, our place in this world. Like, we all have a role to do. And a lot of times we get caught up in envying somebody else's role, which takes us off our course. And it happens a lot in our community. So I would encourage people to be who they are genuinely and find whatever it is that you feel called to do in your world, and be that, and like be dedicated to that. So that's like my main thing, man. And it all comes boiling down to just being who you are, just being comfortable in being who you are and in your skin. There's a place for everybody in this world. There's a place for everybody.
Well, man, like they said, don't let your food go cold looking at somebody else's. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. Hey, I just want to say thank you, man, for coming out, having this conversation with me, man. It's been a pleasure. Everybody,
thank
Hub
you,
City
man.
Dre.
Thank you. I appreciate you, big dog.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.